What is a padded one-shot? Can a one-shot by its very nature even be padded? And what even is a one-shot? Well, while there is some debating around what defines a one-shot on the internet, most can agree it refers to a one-chapter story. However, the length of that one chapter can vary from short to moderately long. A great example of a longer one-shot is Fujimoto's Goodbye Eri, which consists of a 208-page chapter, which, if we were to equate that to the average manga chapter size, 208 pages would equate to roughly 9 or 10 chapters, which is smack bang in the middle of the average manga volume length. Whereas another of Fujimoto's work, Just Listen to the Song, is only 19 pages long, a single chapter. For the most part, the goal of a one-shot is to tell a short, self-contained, complete story. However, in a lot of cases, one-shots are made with the purpose of a competition, often leading to them being picked up and expanded into a much larger story, such as the first draft of Attack on Titan, Dragon Ball, known as its title Dragon Boy at the time, Death Note, Naruto, and even the argued greatest manga of all time ever made, Berserk, were all one-shot stories that were expanded. However, if it was the purpose of a one-shot to tell a short, self-contained story, can it also be padded? Well, yes and no. It's somewhat paradoxical. If it's supposed to be a one-shot, then the more you include, the more you need to wrap up, and the less time you have to focus on each point. For the most part, the one-shots you hear about aren't padded, as if they are being submitted to Japanese magazines such as Shonen Jump, they will have to have a limitation of 50 pages to tell their story. And if you try and cram in too much into the 50 pages, it'll just be a jumbled mess of a story, leading to it being highly unlikely to ever be put into publication. Because of that, you never end up hearing about it, therefore the only stories you do hear about are the ones that aren't padded, because they're the ones that get published. However, that is not what we're talking about. Padded one-shots is a term I came up with to describe anime with an interesting concept that feel like a one-shot story, but had a bunch of additional content jammed in just to pad it out to make it 12 episodes. It's essentially when you scroll through a recipe and you have to scroll 4/5 of the way through the article before you get to the actual recipe where the writer is talking about their childhood, growing up and the first time they tried this meal that was cooked by their grandmother, before forgetting about it for 20 years before a trip to Spain where they met their partner and led them to rediscover their love of cooking and how they always wanted to recreate the recipe, but their grandmother had passed away and they had to go search through all their boxes to find the recipe, and in the story they found the pictures of their grandma during World War II and how she survived Second World War, and I just want to know how to cook a goddamn top-boiled egg. Those sort of articles. The most recent series I felt this with is, this is a hell of a title, I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss if it I may be a solo reception, let me try that again. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time, and they say thumbnails and titles are too long on YouTube. You have to have it short and snappy, 3 words at the most, must describe everything, but Japanese manga titles, it's a fine series. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's very much a 5 out of 10 kind of anime. And the reason behind that is because of how generic the story becomes throughout the story. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time isn't the only series that does this, but it's the most recent one that I've watched where I've noticed this pattern. As someone who worked in retail, the concept of a series really fascinated me, and I was hoping for something akin to a Gretzko in a fantasy world. A story about a guild receptionist who, to avoid working overtime, is willing to solo any boss. It's a nice story, maybe not 12 episodes worth of content, but definitely enough for a highly entertaining one-shot. But what the actual story of the anime is Elena, a guild receptionist, gets a super special, rare, only spoken about in rumours and never before seen special item, and has to keep it a secret, along with her identity as a powerful fighter, due to the super special rare item, as she just wants to work a 9 to 5. While killing a boss monster who is causing her to work overtime, Alina just happens to get identified by Jade, one of the best fighters of the Silver Sword Guild, the most powerful guild in the world, who develops a romantic feeling of attraction towards Alina and brings a romantic subplot into the story, and due to the events of the story, ends Alina ends up in a dungeon protecting Jade from a dark god who announces there are more dark gods coming, introducing an overarching threat into this story about 1 o'clock on time and introducing a subplot into the series about the Dark Bloods. The Dark Bloods. The Dark Blood! Oh, I don't know what I'm doing in my life. And Jade just happens to obtain an artifact that contains a mission to a never-before-seen ability, which revealed a super-secret, never-before-seen castle that contains a super-secret subplot. And what happened to the guild receptionist job aspect? Sure, it's still there in the background of the series, but the series becomes a reluctant hero, romantic mystery adventure series, and I'm not saying that's bad. It's not. It's a fine genre. And the series itself is fine, but it's not a series I have anything glowing to say about. And I think that's because how padded the series became due to the overused tropes. Because how many series can you think of where the premise is, reluctant hero happens to obtain a super special unique item and must uproot their simple life after a chance encounter with a big shot, leading them to discover or setting in motion events that will change or save the world, often leading to them becoming the chosen one, or having the fate of the world fall on their shoulders. No, seriously, how many of those can you think of? Just to name a few off my head, there's Akame ga Kill, My Hero Academia, Dead Man's Wonderland, Fullmetal Alchemist, Gantz, Kill la Kill, Demon Slayer, Parasite, Future Diary, Persona 4, Persona 5, Persona 3, most Persona games, Steins Gate, Summertime Rendering, Sword Art Online, Tokyo Ghoul, Solo Leveling, Jujutsu Kaisen, Kaiju number 8, and Mashle. And that's just off the top of my head. As I said, I may be a good receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to pluck out on time isn't a bad series. But it's not a standout series either. Despite having an interesting, unique concept, it just, as the series goes on, it's like, here's a cool concept, and what happened to the cool concept? Oh yeah, it's being pushed to the side. But of course, if the series doesn't have 12 episodes worth of content, it won't be made. So series like I May Be a Good Receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to click on time, please show on your titles, are stuck between a rock and a hard place of diluting their original idea with generic tropes to pad out the series to 12 episodes worth of content, or create a one-shot story that is a neat, clean, get in, get out, tells a complete story, but doesn't have enough content to get animated kind of story. To put it simply, would you rather play a game that only takes 3 hours to beat and tells a nice, compact, complete story that leaves you feeling fulfilled? Or would you rather play that same game with a bunch of side quests, roadblocks, and fetch quests that bumps the game up to 10 plus hours that doesn't detract from the gameplay and does add to the character's backstory or the world, but also doesn't feel like it adds anything to the game? It's cool to have it, but nothing was really gained from doing so. It's problematic, these kind of series. They're not bad. They're great. They have a great concept, but the concept alone isn't enough to justify 12 episodes. And that's the problem. It's either, here's a great concept that has, I don't know, like, series like Corpse Party Torture Soul. That is probably one of the worst series I've ever seen in my life. It's so bad. It was clearly just adapted because the popularity of Corpse Party, but that's a 3 or 4 episode series, isn't it? And can we just get that? Can we get to a 4 episode thing? There's Orbital Children, which is I think it was a movie originally, but then it was broken up into 3 parts for reasons. Or I may be a good receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time. Could always have been a movie. Can we not just get anime movies again? Like, there are some great concepts out there. Like, I may be a good receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to... The series is great, and it's got a movie's length worth of content in it. But it doesn't have 12 episodes worth of content. It has 60 to 90 minutes worth of content, but it doesn't have 4 hours worth of content. And trying to pad out 12 episodes by just inserting these subplots and generic tropes and diluting the concept of the series, it just detracts from any creativity. And let's go full circle. It's like YouTube in a way, in the fact that there are so many amazing channels out there, so many great creative concepts that are so unique and so amazing and just so awesome. But how do you get eyes on them? You just do the idea, but in a popular YouTube way. Like the, it's been 0 days since I've talked about this subject. Like the Mr. Beastification of YouTube, where all the creativity, but the videos are, not just Mr. Beast video, but all the videos, like, they're brain rot in most cases, but those who do have the idea and are trying to mimic the Mr. Beast aspect of such a content, it's fine. It's interesting. They have a great concept, but they want to get more eyes on it, so they copy and insert all the popular tropes into their video. So their idea is cool, but they want to get more eyes on it, so they insert the tropes, and it just kind of dilutes their videos. Where, I don't know, like, I made a life-size, I don't know, Kaiju number 8 mannequin. Like I made a life-size Kaiju from Kaiju number 8. That's a cool thing. That's a cool video idea. But then it's I made a life-size Kaiju from Kaiju number 8, and last person to take their hand off the Kaiju wins £1 million. Like, I want to see you build a Kaiju. That sounds awesome. Why are you putting all this like generic stuff in? Like, cool, here's a Kaiju, that's awesome. Why is everyone's hands on them? Why are you spraying them with like silly spray? Why are you making them suffer? Oh, we want to do a trope or something. Just have the concept, make the concept, and don't let the bullshit of trying to stuff it with what else to pad it out include in it. I don't, this whole section as being completely ad-lib, but yeah, if you are a content creator or just enjoy anime in general, well, if you're a content creator, just make the videos you want to make. Don't try and pad them out by spamming in what's popular, because in trying to mimic someone else, you're like erasing your own creativity and your originality, and it will just end up being in the pile of slop of generic recreations or people trying to mimic that which is more popular. Even if you have an amazing original idea that is awesome, if you try and blend it with the generic slop of, I don't know, beastification, it's just going to get lost in the slop, and it's not worth it. Make the video you're proud of, make the subject you're passionate about, make that which you really care about, and sure, it may not get many views, but you can be proud in that you've made it the way you have, and it may blow up, and who knows, 5 years from now, people look back at your video and go, wow, his videos are great like the early days, and then it blows up. Don't try and ride the trends or stuff your videos with shit that it doesn't need, because you're just diluting and ruining your own brand. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.